I know we were expecting some new developments this weekend, but some of them have failed quality control. Make sure you indicate what you'd like redeveloped via the workstation.
Hey guys, and welcome back to a brand new career mode episode on the F1 2018 game, and today we are here for yet another race, this time for the Canadian Grand Prix. But if you guys did miss the last race at Monaco, do check it out. A crazy race, and it's one for the ages and quite a historic race, so do check it out by clicking the card in the top right hand corner of your screen. But we arrive here in Canada, and as you can see, upgrade wise, Ferrari not messing around, bringing a massive upgrade package here and really trying to put some distance between themselves and the rest of the top five, or the top four should I say. That top five now really close: Force India, ourselves, Toro Rosso, Red Bull, Mercedes, and also Ferrari. It's locked in such a close and tight battle, and Ferrari bringing some massive upgrades to really try and pull away here for this race. Now we jump into Friday practice, and we got some good momentum underneath us. After a great race in Monaco last time, there was reasons to be confident going into this race. Also because last season, if you take out Australia and Bahrain out of the question, literally we went from China all the way to I think Singapore or something like that, scoring points in every race. So with that in mind, I want to try and keep that run going this season and try and do one step better. So we arrive here, and after the result of Monaco, I'm going to see if I can try and get this car up to speed and see if we can get to grips with the track and feel comfortable straight off the bat. Second race now since the new update with the new patch, with the way the cars look now more updated to the real life season. So getting used to it now, but also just enjoying myself quite a lot now. The car feels good. You could say it's the best it's felt so far in its entire career mode, and I can start to notice now it's starting to feel like a top car, and I can really push it in certain areas. However, for this race weekend, you can see that we did fail the fuel management test because the actual delta lap time, I was losing too much time on the straights, and that's purely down to the fact that the engine, I couldn't change my engine power, like whether it was IC or whether it was ERS or engine power, I could not change nothing because my ICE is absolutely knackered. It's on 75% wear, and I can't rev the car up. I've got to keep my revs low and not push, and ultimately that probably cost me quite a lot on the straights, and I just could not do it in the fuel management. But other than that, it was an encouraging session, and we carry a lot of momentum forward going into qualifying on Saturday. But first of all, interview time.
The fans really seem to enjoy that. You made it look easy. You're leading the championship. Are you happy to be there or feeling the pressure? You really put a lot of effort into practice today. Are you testing new components? You were flying in practice. Do you think you can carry this over to qualifying? You left some bodywork out there on the track. Were you struggling for grip? Great! Well, that's everything.
And with the interviews done, it was time for qualifying on Saturday here at the circuit de Gilles Villeneuve for the Canadian Grand Prix. I love this circuit, and after practice, like I mentioned, we had a lot of confidence. I put a new engine in the car, and I was ready to try and push and see what I could do. With the new power unit, I was hoping to really try and find a bit of time in the car. Mainly, all the components were pretty down more, and they were all around, in and around 50%. But the ICE was the one that was really hurting badly. I had a couple on 60 almost as well. But all in all, a fresh engine should give us a couple of extra Ks in the straight, and also allow us to actually rev up the engine a bit more on the rev lights and push it a bit more to the limit. I need to start really, working on that durability now, because this season there is a potential we could go for the championship. We are leading the championship as things stand, as Claire mentioned, so we have to sort of factor that in, and realistically we have to consider the fact that we might have to upgrade the engine and do those upgrades. As you can see, before qualifying gets underway, I'm just showing you guys all the engine components and what the wear levels are. But the IC, like I mentioned, being the one that's won the most. We changed the gearbox in the last race in Monaco, one race earlier than what we should have done. So again, there's lots of areas that we need to improve the car. So it's something in my mind that we're going to have to work towards in the next few races. For now, I still want to focus on performance. I want to try and find some more engine performance in the car. But durability is definitely on the horizon for this season. Now, in Q1, we went out fairly late actually. I normally go out pretty early in Q1, but I went out relatively late on the hypersoft. I didn't mess around, I went straight out on the fastest tyre, and my idea here was to try and save a tyre, and basically for later on in qualifying. So we went out one lap, and we actually got through P15. Only just, I mean, about around not even a tenth. It was so close, you know, that top 17 was extremely close for pace, and we managed to basically save a hypersoft later on. In Q2, I went on the ultras first to try and get a bank lap in, and yet again save another hypersoft tyre. And then on our second attempt, we are now going to go for a full lap on the hypersofts around this circuit. The idea is that we can have 2 runs if we get through into Q3 on the hypersofts. That's what I'm hoping for. So, as you can see, so far we're already a tenth and a half up on the delta here. And to be fair, it wasn't my best lap. I wasn't really happy with this one, to be fair. I knew I left a lot of time on the table, especially because most of my time I gained it in the first sector already. And in the rest of the lap, it kind of just fell away a bit, and I wasn't really happy with it. I still gained some time, but it wasn't the landslide I was expecting, and also I wasn't pushing to the max because I didn't want to show my cards or, you know, take a massive risk, because this lap had to be the one. I could not make a mistake, so I wasn't 100% committed to the lap, and all in all, I could feel it, and also you could notice it in the lap time that I was definitely lacking a bit of pace. But all in all, so far, around 3/10 up, and it's all coming down to this final chicane. Can we make or break our lap, gain some time or lose some time? Let's wait and see as we now throw it into the chicane. 5th gear action, possibly 4th depending on your preference. We lose the back end on the exit slightly, which compromises my exit line, and we are around 3.5 tenths up as we go up to P9, and that will just be enough for the Q3, I think, unless someone else does improve. And actually, Verstappen does improve on the ultras. He switches to the hypers and goes P4, but we do get through by around 0.2 of a second, and to be fair, relatively comfortably. Now in Q3, I went out for 2 runs, as I mentioned. The first one, not great. I absolutely messed it up, and we cut the corner, so I was all banking basically on my second attempt. And we are going to ride on board for a full lap of the Montreal circuit. Straight away, turn 1, 4th gear, going to 3rd, you would have really attacked that first apex to really open up the second corner as much as you can. Traction critical out of turn 2 as we go into the first of multiple chicanes for 3 and 4, a right-left combination which feed into the swooping right-hander of turn 5 as we now break into the turn 6 left-hand, or should I say left-right, another chicane really speaking here. And traction out of this right-hander is so important because you're kind of turning and accelerating at the same time as we open up the DRS on the back straight. Now into 7 and 8, right-left combo here, another chicane this time, and making sure you keep the back end in check. Don't go too wide there, we just about keep it on the track without touching the grass or the wall as we now go through turn 9 into the turn 10 hairpin. 2nd gear action here, we just missed the apex of it, using 1st gear to get the car rotated on the apex there as we get on the power. Very good exit, going through the gears, open up the DRS right about now on the back straight, and pretty much try and max out your straight line speed as we look for the 100-meter board here to break just after it, and all the way down to 5th gear, potentially fall for the final chicane. Really throw the car in there, past the wall of champions, keep the car to the right hand side for the shortest run to the line, and we go P9 for our lap in Q3.
Good work.
Not the best lap by any means. Ultimately, I can say I was not happy with it. I think if we now look at the final results, I definitely think if I'd got the perfect lap, I think I could have beaten both of the Red Bulls. Happy to have beaten Gasly though. Gasly didn't really get a decent lap together, so that's good news for me. But I definitely think I could have definitely beaten the Red Bulls there. But all in all, a decent qualifying, and it's now time for the race.
We're back once again beside the St. Lawrence River here in Montreal for the Canadian Grand Prix. The event first moved to a variant of this track back in 1978. It was won by none other than Gilles Villeneuve, the first Canadian to ever win his home race, and in whose honour the circuit would be renamed. We'll be seeing top speeds of around 210 miles an hour here at the circuit Gilles Villeneuve, with around 2/3 of the lap taken at full throttle. High-speed chicanes spell potential danger, especially at the infamous Wall of Champions. And watch out for overtaking into the hairpin and the final chicane. Joining me for today's race once again is Anthony Davidson. Let's talk about Martinez. What do you make of their performance so far this season?
They've been avoiding mistakes and have had solid pace, so it's been a good season so far, but whether they can keep that up long term remains to be seen.
With that then, let's run through the grid order. Sebastian Vettel will start on pole. Fantastic qualifying from the multiple world champion, edging out Raikkonen, who'll start P2. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Hamilton, Perez, Esteban Ocon and Bottas, Verstappen, Ricciardo, Martinez and Pierre Gasly, Magnussen, Grosjean, Carlos Sainz and Leclerc, Hülkenberg, Alonso, Lance Stroll and Marcus Ericsson. Van Dorn and Sergei Sirotkin rounds off the grid. And with preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track.
Right, here we are then on the grid for the Canadian Grand Prix P9, and we are alongside Pierre Gasly on row 5. So the task is simple: try and finish higher than where we started if possible. Always try and get in the points, that's the target, as that is what our contract states. And try and do the job, basically. Have a little bit of fun. Realistically, I want to try and beat the Red Bulls there if I can, because they seem pretty vulnerable. The Mercedes, Force Indians and Ferrari seem to have a bit of an edge, especially Ferrari. They're a bit too quick. Also, strategy might come into play. Everyone in the top 10 is probably going to be on the 2 or the 3 stop. Me personally, I'm going to be on the 2 stop. As you can see here, we're going to be running the Super Softs in the middle stint. I made a little modification because originally it was Hypers, Ultras, Supers. I've switched to Hypers, Supers, Ultras. Basically switched the last 2 stints around to be more competitive at the end of the Grand Prix. And also fuel-wise, we are a lap over target. So a pretty straightforward race, no rain expected. And I'm hungry to try and score some good points and continue a good run of form. So that being said, let's jump into it for round number 7 for the Canadian Grand Prix. Right, let's get ready for the 5 red lights then here at the circuit de Gilles Villeneuve for the Canadian Grand Prix. Lights out and away we go. It's not a bad start. I've had a lot worse. We're going to hold our position into turn 1. Gasly's going to have the inside line for turn 2. Teammates all going to abreast here. We're going to go on the outside of Verstappen. Look at this, side-by-side action here. Verstappen, though, edges me out on the braking. The 2 Red Bulls very close to a bit of contact. We have to get out of it, unfortunately, through the swooping right, as we now go into the first of multiple chicanes, or the second of multiple chicanes around this circuit. But it's a good start from us, keeping our position, which is the main thing. That's the target we was looking for. Now we can start using our new power unit and using the higher engine modes, so it'll give us a bit more performance, hopefully, on the straights. Also, we need to make sure we keep these tyres in check. Don't try and overcook them if possible. The Ferraris, 1-2 already, and already putting some major distance between themselves and the rest of the competition. You can see them already there on the mini-map. It's a good exit out of the hairpin here. Let's see what we're like for straight line speed. I've not really got much of an idea of where we lie. There's a lot of slipstream going on right now, with Verstappen getting a slipstream off his teammate, and then they're both getting a slipstream off of the Mercedes. So far, though, seems pretty even Stevens as we go into the chicane for the first time. Right then, not bad. Let's try and settle into the race, and let's see if we can line up some moves. I know my personal strong point lies in sectors 1 and 3. My weak point is sector 2 by quite a way. Also, I know that my best chance for an overtake is potentially staying close on the back straight, the long back straight, and then getting the run through the final chicane, and potentially have a run on someone on the home straight into turn 1. That's going to be our best overtaking opportunity, I think, around this circuit. Also, we just got a bit out of shape there through that chicane, allowing Gasly to get on the inside. I'm very hot on the brakes into the hairpin there. Accidental double overtake, I'm not complaining. I went to cover off Gasly, lost my brake reference, but instead we've got past both of the Red Bulls. So a nice little double overtake there. We're now going to have DRS, but we're going to be quite severely under pressure here. See, look at this, the Red Bull and Taurus are going 3 wide here behind me. We're going to not be attacked or under pressure into the chicane, and we're going to be okay to continue on here as we now chase after Bottas. I thought Ricciardo at the hairpin was going to completely turn in on me there.
Gap to leader, 7.5 seconds.
I thought I got the move completely wrong, and I thought I absolutely ruined it. And I genuinely thought Ricciardo was going to turn in and break my front wing, which would have been my fault for diving in there, but also Ricciardo for turning in and not realising I was there. Either way, they're still battling behind. We've got some distance to Ricciardo now, so let's try and get past Bottas. There's a nice little Mercedes versus Force India battle brewing up in front of us. The Ferraris have absolutely walked away at the front with their upgraded car, which looks absolutely untouchable at the moment. Right then, Bottas doesn't have DRS on the Force Indians in front, so I'm going to close up this gap. I'm going to try and set myself up for a run through the chicane and try and line him up for a move. There we go. Good exit speed, good momentum carried through. Overtake ERS engaged.
We're approaching the pit window. You'll be on the super softs.
Oh, it's a hot move, but we get out of shape. It's extremely reckless, and we have to try and fight back with Bottas here. Bottas covers off the inside, to be fair to him, quite nicely. No way through for me there. Good defensive driving from Bottas. I got way too hot into turn 1. Right, let's try it again this time. We're a little bit further back, but I'm using rich mix. That's the difference. We're going to knock down the engine modes, get nice and close. Carry the speed nicely through the chicane. There we go. Bottas getting a bit of a better exit this time. Still not great. We go up the inside this time and we get it done much easier. No dramas this time around. And we're up into 6th place. Nice little overtake. Textbook stuff. And we now got some clean air to try and push before we come in for our stop, I think, next lap. Right, cars in the pit lane.
Pierre is in for his stop.
Including Pierre Gasly, so we're now up into 4th place. Managed to survive Bottas's DRS attack, so now I'm going to get a proper lap here to try and pull away from him. Oh, Nico Hulkenberg out of the race. He retires from the Canadian Grand Prix in the Renault. Oh, tyres are starting to feel very second hand now. Car's getting very loose. We are scheduled to come in this lap, so we're making it a strong one.
Box this lap, please.
Well, it's been a strong stint. Hopefully Bottas doesn't challenge me into the pit lane. I don't think he will. I think he's too far back. So here we go into the pit lane. Get it all slowed down to the 80. There we go. That was a brilliant entry. And saving the ERS up as well. It's going to be quite a big pit stop battle here, it seems. Quite a few teams getting ready. There goes the Ferrari of Raikkonen. He's managed to come out just in front of us. Big screen freeze there into the pit box. Either way, we get going here. 2.3. Not too bad. 2.4 almost. But we're still ahead of Bottas, which is the critical thing. The main thing was to come out ahead of Valtteri.
Only
Up the speed.
Stop to go. One stop left in this strategy.
Let's see if we can try and switch on these super softs. We might be in the back foot slightly. Bottas is on the same tyre, so
Yellow flag.
that could be good news. It means he won't have a massive competitive edge over me. If he's gone on the ultras, then we might be in the back foot. But
Okay, clear.
the fact we're both on supers makes it a bit more of an even playing field. And you can see in the minimap we've come out ahead of the Red Bulls and Pierre Gasly, so we're still ahead of where we were, even though these guys came in a lap before. The problem is now, though, we might be on the back foot here. Bottas has DRS. I'm using the maximum engine modes to defend. We're going to squeeze Bottas out there. That's going to give me what I need. I'm going to be able to pull away here. There we go. We've got a nice bit of distance to him now. There's Lewis Hamilton exiting the pit lane. He's just rejoined.
We're leading our teammate by 5.0 seconds.
He's rejoined in amongst this train in front of us, so he won't be going anywhere anytime soon. He might be struggling for some pace early on, so this is our chance to close up to him now. Right then, on the back of Stoffel Van Dorn here, we're going to really test out straight line speed behind this McLaren. Need to make this move. He's got DRS himself, so it's going to have to be a bit of a drag race. We pull to the inside. We get it done the brakes quite easily. There's a bit of a traffic jam here out of the chicane. Look at this. Sorokin going for the move on Alonso here. Oh my god, there's been contact there. We're going to need to be careful. Got to be very careful. I'm going to set up a move maybe on Alonso here. He's at a poor exit. He's going defensive. Up the inside of the McLaren. Job done. Effective move. We had to get that P11. Also, just noticed I can see some visual damage on my front wing, I think. Let me confirm that. Yeah, look, we've got a little bit of front wing damage. Not sure where I got that from. Right then, Sorokin goes for the move on Ericsson. I'm just going to get on the brakes and watch this happen. Ericsson comes in, Sorokin stays out. Didn't really benefit that much from that, to be fair. Right then, out the hairpin. Let's try and get this move done on Sergei Sorokin here. DRS wide open. That Williams is bloody fast on the straight. Like, really fast. And we get the job done. And we're now back up into the point. Now we've got some clean air to actually try and push a bit on this tyre, so let's do that.
Gap ahead is 4.6 seconds.
I'm definitely feeling the understeer. I thought it was because I was in dirty air of other cars and didn't really think of it too much. It felt normal to me, but it's not improved in clean air. I'm struggling to shake off Sorokin here, so we might be in trouble, and I kind of need Sorokin to stay ahead of Bottas as long as possible. Bit of a battle going on in front here, you can see. Got a Williams, a Haas, a Mercedes of Hamilton, and a Force India, so we are closing up to this battle here. Okay, I've managed to get within Lance Stroll and Magnussen's DRS here, I think that was, who I just saw at the hairpin. Starting to really catch up. That Williams is so fast in the straights, and they both come in, so that's good news for me. It's going to release me in some nice clean air, not have to waste any time overtaking, and we're now up into 7th place as we set a personal best. So right now this is working out okay for me. I'm finding a little bit of pace now on these tyres. It's taken a while. I'm having to change the way I drive. Also, Sirotkin is doing a fabulous job. Look at that train of cars right behind him there. I don't know what's happened, but my teammate, the Red Bulls and Bottas, are no longer a threat in this race, so we can happily get a front wing change in the next stop and not be affected.
Just so you know, we're getting some strange readings from a couple of the sensors. I don't think you need to be worried, it's just some bad data, so keep doing what you're doing, and I'll let you know if we notice any genuine problems.
Well, that's never a good thing. Either way, Magnussen in the pit lane, so is Grosjean last time round, my mistake. Up into P6, and we've got Lewis and Ocon scrapping it out in front of us here. And also Sirotkin, I think, has just come in, so Bottas has now been released along with the Red Bulls. So let's see what their true pace is. Lewis and Ocon are really losing a lot of time here. They keep on re-overtaking each other in the DRS zones because they've both got such powerful engines. I'm really starting to close the gap up now. We're now over half race distance here in this race. Ocon and Hamilton
approaching the pit window, you'll be on the ultra softs.
putting in a decent little lap there and actually pulling away from me a bit. But we are nearing the window now for the ultras, so I'll have that nice tire advantage at the end. And also a new front wing, hopefully. Well, considering the front wing damage, it's been a pretty good stint.
Okay, remember to pit this lap.
We're going to maximise this back straight if possible. There we go, right now into the pit lane. Get it all slowed down, there we go, beautiful. So we're going to hop onto the ultra softs now. Hopefully we can have a good stint. Lewis stays out for one more lap, interesting, there's potential for an undercut there. We hold up Ocon massively, just as he was about to pull away. I asked for a front wing change, the team aren't giving it to me, so obviously
exit now.
It's not required. The damage isn't that bad. I mean, it speaks for itself, but the team obviously disagree.
These tyres now. We want to finish the race on this compound.
Right, pit exit, here we go. Sainz and Leclerc battling away right in front of us here. Got to be careful with this, because there could be potential for a bit of front wing being knocked off like completely this time. Here we go, through the fast right. Not quite going to happen there. Gonna have to try and be tactical here with this. I'm gonna stay close with some ERS, but I'm gonna try and get them both on the back straight. That Renault, I know, isn't phenomenal on the straight, so I'm gonna have a chance. I'll have another chance here into the hairpin if I can get the signs into the hairpin at least. Not quite. These guys, I think they might be on fresh tyres because they seem to be braking pretty damn late. That's a nice bit of traction though out of there from me. We're gonna get very close to Carlos Sainz here. We're going to pull to the left hand side. We're not going to get them both on the same straight, but Leclerc comes in, so we're going to get it done without even having to overtake. Sainz comes in as well, so there we go. I'm into 8th place.
We advise
Bottas
moving to mix 2, fuel to mix 2.
Bottas in front.
Teammate by 9.0 seconds.
I want to say he's not come in yet, so if that is the case, he must have a car problem because he was right behind me earlier on, so he must have lost a lot of time and had a couple of car issues.
Okay, gap ahead is 1.8 seconds.
There we go, Bottas comes in, so he must have had car trouble. We've already taken a whole pit stop out of him. Up next is Kevin Magnussen, who I believe is on a 1-stop. So we need to get past him for position. I think he started on the ultras and has gone straight to the supers, and it might be going to the end. Or maybe running hypers right at the end, but either way we need to get past him just in case. On the personal best. There's Lewis out the pit lane, so he's come out well behind Esteban Ocon. But I think he might be on... Could he be on hypers? Is that possible? Because there's only one way to find out. Right then, into the hairpin. Close to Magnussen here. Not the best exit, but we are going to get that straight line speed difference over him. He's got no DRS, so he's going to be pretty vulnerable. He's also got some strong pace, so I do think he's pretty on for the 1-stop. Those tyres seem to have a lot of life left in them in that Haas car. Not best line. I get on the grass slightly, kind of ruined my momentum through there. Luckily we're going to have DRS and I can stay ahead of him for now. I'm going to need a big lap here.
The leader is 26.0 seconds.
Not a personal best, but I need to try and pull away. Hamilton is on ultra soft, not on hypers. So hopefully he starts playing for Ocon again. I might have a better chance of catching him. I think that might be all she wrote. Lewis with a 10.0. I'm pushing at my maximum and that's the best I can do. A 10.5.
Gap to teammate behind is 16.0 seconds.
We've marked to just settle for this P6, which is still fantastic, but ultimately no more battling for the rest of this race, it seems. Right then, 3 to go. Looks like it's going to be a P6 for us here today. Right down to the last lap. Ocon and Lewis have re-engaged.
Final lap of the race.
They're both having a decent little scrap here. So this might not be over just yet. You never know. We are a bit far back though. But the gap has come down from like 8 seconds to 3.5 in the last 2 laps. Sebastian wins the Canadian Grand Prix. I'm just running it at max power here to see if I can get anything out of this. I'm going to burn up all of my ERS. Looks like nothing's going to come from it. So it's going to be P6 for us in this race. And there we go. Confirmed as we push to the line right to the last second. And that is the end of the Canadian Grand Prix.
Alright, race over. Take care of the car on the way in.
Right, so looking at the final race results, Sebastian Vettel dominates the Canadian Grand Prix alongside Kimi Räikkönen to make it a Ferrari 1-2 and a massive statement of intent for the championship with those massive upgrades they brought for this race weekend. Sergio Perez does really well to get 3rd place, and Force India a very solid 3rd and 4th, and you could argue they are the 2nd best team. Even though they're not in the R&D chart 2nd, they do perform like a 2nd best team. Then Lewis P5 behind Esteban Ocon. We come home P6 and we lose the championship lead in this race. Kevin Magnussen on the 1-stop, P7, fantastic result for him. Grosjean as well, both Haas boys on a 1-stopper making it work and both scoring points, with Verstappen in between the Haas cars and Gasly scoring the final point and beating Valtteri Bottas for P10. And in terms of the driver standings though, Vettel takes the lead now after that win, and he is 8 points clear ahead of Sergio Perez and 13 points clear of myself. A massive win for Sebastian here today, and Hamilton as well, only down in P8 there, and that's the man who won the championship last season, so he's got a long way to try and compete with Sebastian this year, who seems absolutely unstoppable. In terms of the constructors though, Ferrari lead the way now, and they've taken a massive jump forward, and so far it's looking pretty equally spread out between the top 5, and then there's a bit more of a gap to Haas there, who are in P6, and all in all, a very interesting Canadian Grand Prix here, and a very enjoyable one. Good progress from qualifying from P9 to P6. That can be considered a successful race, but now we're going to go into the R&D screen and try and add some more upgrades to the car.
Good day today. Tell us about it from your perspective. It's safe to say you're smashing everyone's expectations, isn't it? You really cut your way through the field today. What was your strategy? You scraped the walls a few times. Were you struggling for grip? You're no longer in the top spot. Are you hoping to regain it? Appreciate your time.
Right, so here we are then on the R&D screen, and I think it's time for a nice little double upgrade in the same department. We had an engine upgrade which was meant to arrive for this race in the ERS, which actually failed, so we're going to get that on the car straight away for the next race, and also we've got enough points for yet another one in the ERS department, so we're going to go for a double ERS upgrade. Actually, no, never mind, that's not available, so we'll go for something else instead. Can we go for one of these? No, that's too expensive, so never mind, we can't go for the engine, so we're going to go for reliability. Try and improve that if we can. Where's the ICE? Because the ICE is something that we need to improve if possible. ICE is here. Right, okay, let's get an ICE upgrade on the car and improve the ICE wear, and then we'll try and get one for the gearbox as well. But all in all, a nice little upgrade for the next race. Hopefully we can improve the performance a bit, get a little bit closer to Mercedes. As you can see there, the chart is so close. Force India are the 5th best team, but definitely don't feel that way. They feel easily the 2nd best. Either way, it's getting extremely close, but Ferrari are definitely the standout performance here this weekend, and they've really dominated. We go again the next time in France, but until then, guys, hopefully enjoy this episode of Career Mode. If you have, then drop a like on the video. Also, do get subscribed for daily Formula 1 content. Turn on notifications, so don't miss a single video from me, and finally, check out these 2 videos on screen if you have missed them. But other than that, guys, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one very soon. Goodbye.